Welcome to the lecture for Chapter 3 that focuses on ethics and professionalism. This chapter asks questions that make you think a little bit harder about some of the situations you might be in as PR professionals. Would you represent an alcohol company if you didn't think alcohol consumption was a good thing? Is it okay to send a small gift certificate along with a news release announcing your client's coffee house grand opening? Would you lie for your employer? Would you present a news release that only gave half the truth? These types of questions are what the Chapter 3 looks at, the gray area of what is ethical and what is unethical. This gray area is not always easy to make sense out of, so today we will go over some key concepts such as the definition of ethics, what PR professionals need to take into consideration with ethics, the role of professional organizations, professional codes of conduct, and ethical dealings with the news media. Let's get started. The chapter begins by distinguishing between two key terms, ethics and values. Ethics is defined by the textbook as referring to the standards of conduct which indicates how one should behave based upon moral duties and virtues rising from principles of right and wrong. The textbook defines values as referring to central beliefs which determine how we will behave in certain situations. The key difference between these two terms is how we feel we should behave and how we actually behave in a situation. Sometimes it is hard to have these two things align in the professional world. As PR professionals, we must always ask ourselves if we are keeping our values aligned with our ethics. There are 4 things that PR professionals must take into consideration when making ethical decisions. The first are the needs and the interests of the public. The second are the needs and the interests of the employer. Third, the standards of the PR profession must be taken into consideration. And fourth, the personal values of the PR professional must be balanced within all of this. The key question, however, is whether a PR practitioner can ethically communicate at the same time he or she is serving as an advocate for a particular organization or client. Many professionals believe that this is possible, but practitioners must remain objective, reasonable, and their efforts must be truthful. Over the past few years, there has been an increase in the amount of professional organizations that are available for PR professionals to join. Professional organizations work to develop ethical and professional standards for the field to follow. The textbook goes over the largest professional groups in the field. The first is the Public Relations Society of America, or PRSA. PRSA is the largest organization in the world with almost 22,000 members. The society represents a variety of PR interest sections and offers extensive professional development through courses, seminars, teleconferences, and webcasts. The second group is the Public Relations Student Society of America, or PRSSA. This society is a pre-professional PR organization for students at universities that have a chapter. PRSSA holds regional and national conferences, awards scholarships, and promotes mentoring between professional practitioners and students. The third group is the International Association of Business Communicators, or IABC. IABC is the second largest organization and has similar objectives as PRSA, but it is more global in its scope. And finally is the International Public Relations Association, or IPRA. IPRA is truly a global organization with 1,000 members in about 80 countries. The association bases its code of ethics in the Charter of the United Nations. Codes of conduct from various organizations tend to have similar themes in what they express. The first and the most important is to tell the truth. Codes of conduct also state that practitioners should not mislead or deceive an uninformed audience. Professional communication should be legal, ethical, in good taste, and always sensitive to cultural values and beliefs. For an example of what a full code of ethics includes, I encourage you to take a look at page 73 in the textbook that outlines PRSA's guidelines for professional practice. While professional codes of conduct address the general practice of PR, some groups have developed codes for specific situations that you might find yourself in one day. The first references financial information. If your job involves the corporate financial sector, the National Investors Relations Institute encourages you to do three things. First, to exercise independent professional judgment. Second, to keep track of financial laws and regulations. And third, always ensure full and fair disclosure. The second type of specific situation are video news releases. Some companies utilize video news releases that are done by a PR firm, but make them look as if a news station created the footage. Sometimes news stations use the video, and it's hard to decipher that the footage is actually a press release and from a third party. For this, the textbook offers 4 steps. First, the information in the VNR must be accurate and not intentionally false. Second, a VNR must be identified as such on the tape and in the footage. Third, the sponsor of the release must be clearly identified on the tape with contact information. And fourth, people on the VNR must be identified by name, title, and affiliation. A third specific situation the textbook deals with is internet transparency. Some companies have individuals who post anonymous reviews of products or services and frame them in positive ways. This is highly unethical as the online posts don't reveal that the authors are being paid by the company to post them. And a fourth specific situation deals with corporate practice. PR firms and companies have established codes of conduct and regularly schedule training sessions for employees. Codes help create a corporate culture that promotes ethical behavior. The chapter ends by looking at 3 areas of ethical dealings with the news media. The first involves gifts to journalists. Gifts to journalists are generally considered unethical as gifts compromise the neutral perspective a journalist should have. PRSA says gifts of any kind can contaminate the free flow of accurate and truthful information to the public. Although some gifts can be obvious, such as free trips, free computers, or gift certificates, some can be harder, like a free t-shirt or a free coffee mug. It's up to you if you consider these as persuasive gifts or not, but you must be aware of the ethical issues inherent to PR, journalism, and gifts. The second issue is the link between buying ads and getting news coverage. It is often implied that a company will buy advertising if an article or product review will be featured in the paper or magazine. While this isn't exactly like giving cash to have an item promoted, it is close. The question remains, is this ethical? This is a gray area decision that should always be considered within the frame of professional codes of conduct. And finally, the third area deals with transparency and disclosure issues. Some PR firms hire freelance writers to write favorable reviews about a company. Some corporations pay professors and researchers to write favorably about products and services. The blurring of lines between what is credible and honest and what is paid for and contrived is a serious ethical issue where the lines are growing increasingly vague. Today we went over some key concepts such as the definition of ethics and values, what PR professionals need to take into consideration with ethics, the role of professional organizations, professional codes of conduct, and ethical dealings with the news media. As practitioners, we not only need to know about ethical issues, but we need to ask ourselves how we should and how we will act in various situations.